You grow up in small towns and everybody goes to the game.
Friday night football, and you get the whole community coming out. That's what Hiland basketball is in the wintertime.
If you drive around the back roads around here, the Amish have basketball hoops in their barns, in their driveways too, so they loved watching it.
I mean, basketball's always been huge here in Holmes County, but after Coach Reese came, he definitely put basketball on a different level here in Berlin.
My dad took the Hiland job basically to get Perry a job as his assistant. I mean, let's be honest, it's kind of unthought of that a black Catholic would go to a school that was Amish and Mennonite school. And then my dad said, all right, I quit. Perry, you take over.
They didn't have much of a choice, so Perry took the job.
Not everyone accepted Perry Reese when he arrived in Berlin, and occasionally during those early years, people would drive by his house here on South Market Street and yell racial slurs.
All I saw was black.
And being in here, I shouldn't be thinking like that.
Why he was put here, dropped in the middle of Amish country. Are you kidding me?
When he came to Berlin, it was a closed community of Amish and Mennonites, the largest in the world. He was the only black man many locals had ever seen.
A lot of them were scared of him. They'd never seen anybody like him.
Perry had to go through a lot of struggles. So few people knew about it because everything he kept to himself.
Perry packed up and was leaving and came to tell my mom and dad goodbye. And my mother said, no, you're not a quitter, you're not leaving.
The way he respected the Amish in the community, I think that showed a lot to the community in itself.
In our community here, there's many good athletes that are Amish, and once they get to the 8th grade and finish 8th grade, that's it for them.
We were not allowed to go to high school, and once I got away from the Amish phase, my goal was to get my boys an education, and here Coach Reese comes along, and he helps them decide to go to college, and all three of them got to go through college.
He showed people how to work, how to go about it, how to prepare. And so Perry was a big influence on this area.
Thanks to folks like Perry Reese Jr., barriers and stereotypes are broken.
Who could have guessed that he would capture the hearts of so many?
What was he like as a coach? Was he tough?
He was real easy.
Bunch of 5'10", 5'11", toe-headed white kids who just were great basketball players. Not many very good athletes.
He wanted you to be your best.
Play better and play hard. We're not playing hard at all. 2 times, they got burnt you deep.
37 seconds left, down 7. I guess most of the time you say you're out of it.
I can see him kind of coaching them, and I can see them kind of gaining confidence. That's how much tenacity that team showed in the last breath that they had.
This team would not lose. They just refused to lose.
A foul's called with 0.5 of a second to go. Can you believe that?
He had practiced his whole life for this moment.
Right there, we just kind of knew it. I have chills right now. Good Lordy.
That's it. Berlin Hiland stages a miracle comeback.
It's the greatest basketball game I've ever seen.
That is the gutsiest performance from a high school that I've ever seen.
And that was part of the success. Kids would go out and believe because Coach believed in them.
They have heart of a champion. They have the heart of Perry Reese.
I knew something wasn't right. At the state tournaments, he did not coach, and he just stood there.
I mean, that's not Perry. There's something wrong with that.
There's certain people that you look at and you're like, they're invincible, and Coach Reese was one of them.
He had his hand up, it's kind of a weird position, hand up, and just resting it right here.
They diagnosed it as brain cancer.
We thought our world's coming to an end.
He just said, I'm gonna need you to take care of Jason. And it was one of those things I kind of took to heart, like, he knew Jason needed somebody to look out for him, and that coach wasn't going to be able to anymore.
In a day and age when there are no heroes, Perry Reese Jr. was a hero.
I think him and God talked. When his job was done, God took him home.
It just left a big hole. It just won't ever be filled.
Life is about a lot more things than just basketball. He meant a lot to this community, and it changed this community.
In our community, I think the classic in the country has been a big part of that healing process. It's the one big thing that we still have that we
get a chance to remember Coach every year as a community.
It's the biggest girls basketball event in the U.S. We have the best basketball in the country. We got nationally ranked teams here.
This tiny little school is on the national map, and a lot of that had to do with the classic in the country.
Josie, get him, bud. Check him out.
There are quite a few people named after Coach Reese in our area. There's probably about 50 or more people. 2 of our children are named after Coach Reese. This is Perrin. Her name's spelled P-E-R-R-Y-N in honor of Perry. And then this is Josie. His middle name is Reese in honor of Coach as well.
My middle name is Reese. Coach Reese was one of my dad's best friends.
He broadened our views. He challenged us to think outside of our little Holmes County box.
We're so far removed. Coach Reese helped to get us out of that bubble a little bit.
There is a lot of kids of color here in our community.
And families that have adopted African American children that would never happen in Holmes County. And
he broke that barrier to the point where this is just normal. There's a lot of success that goes on because of the work ethic that he has instilled.
Never, in anything you do in life, never stop believing in yourself.
Mark Slabaugh, Dave Slabaugh, they run their teams exactly the way Perry ran.
Our success doesn't happen without Coach Reese being here. He set that in motion, and that's one of the reasons why we've had the success that we've had here for all the years, boys and girls basketball.
He was a really, really good coach.
This program, ultimately, Coach's program, means more than anything else in the basketball world to me.
The Hiland program is the program in the state of Ohio that has been to state tournament more than any other program.
My banners are 06 and 08. The 2000 state champions.
2011, 2012 state champions. I'm the only family member without a state championship.
At Hiland, expectations are always high.
Did you get more nervous to watch Caleb play in this gym or when we played?
Yeah, I'm more nervous to watch him. I don't have any control over what he does.
You're in the stigma of the Hawk's Nest, man. Anything can happen.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, you Twinkies.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, there's a lot of memories here, you know.
Nevin was diagnosed with cancer.
We were told that he had a rare form of lymphoma.
That was, one of the worst nights of my life, and that's when I heard that he had cancer.
Yeah, I have a form of cancer that still we don't know how to treat, so.
Nevin Mishler. Thank you. Good to see you walking across there, man.
Words can't describe how much he meant to me and my brother.
To watch 2 men taken out in the prime of their life leaves you asking the same question. Why?
And the crazy thing with them being about the same age.
Hiland ranked 10th in Division 4. Lioness of Graphic ranked 5th in Division 4 in the state semifinals from UD Arena.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing, man? How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you.
32 years later.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe, isn't it? And your son plays?
Yeah.
32 years ago, we win. Caleb's number is 32.
This is, of course, the 3rd straight season Hiland has been to the state tournament. And obviously for Hiland, you expect that at this point, but a huge challenge here today.
32 years later, it's happening all over again.
This is the same game that we played years ago. It became 92 all over again.
When that came down to the end, he shot that shot.
Wiggins, 3-pointer for the Airline. Wiggins going to be knocked down! Nick Wiggins home! What a game! Double overtime.
From the first time that Coach Reese led the Hawks down to St. John Arena for the state tournament to today, every trip is special for your community. It's special for us too.
Please welcome me as we enter Perry Reese Jr. into the Hall of Fame, posthumously.
He would not want all of this attention, but I think he deserves it because he worked so hard.
He was a big-time coach. He had a great presence.
And remember, people, humility.
His room was right here, and right in the middle of everything, his room, and he taught junior high and high school classes. He interacted with everybody.
Okay, that's enough.
You'd come in here and you'd get a headlock and a noogie on your head.
He taught us how to have fun and that it was okay to have fun.
Coach makes me walk all the way up the hill.
Did you get that on tape? Her pulling up down there?
Coach was the one taking us out toilet papering. I mean, we were running all over the town.
He was definitely a prankster. He was a little kid at heart, man.
There were 3 coaches.
There he is, and that's his fish.
You'd have thought he just won a state championship. And I'm like, Perry, it's just a fish. No, nobody's ever going to have a fish that big.
The kids look at Perry as a hero.
I think we do need someone like him to remind everyone how everyone should be treated.
All the things that this man did against the odds.
I believe he was an angel that was sent here at that time for a purpose.
People just adopted him into their lives, into the community, into their homes.
He was basically our best man in our weddings.
You know, it's more than basketball. It really is.
The lives that he touched and the things that he brought to this community, all because he was willing to be different and stand out in the crowd.
It's about building relationships, and that's what Perry was.
This is a letter Coach wrote me when I was in the detention home senior year.
He never left our side during the times, and it was some trying times.
I remember that I'm here for you when you get back, and so to be welcomed back was a big deal.
He was always there for you. He could tell you anytime you need me, let me know.
The love that he had for our family, our well-being, it was Perry Reese the humanitarian and not just Perry Reese the coach.
What we learned from him changed this community forever. I mean, forever.
Everybody's attention here when I get a chance to talk to the guys that put on the spring film that we got a chance to see here today. Maximo and Mizicko. First of all, I know you heard that round of applause, guys. How did that make you feel after that film today?
Amazing, yeah. I mean, we made this really for the community, so it was very important to make sure we did justice and tell the story the way it should be told.
Well, a long journey. I know it's been a long road to get here, but you made it, and we were all rewarded today by getting a chance to watch this film. And Jay, I wanted to ask you, what first drew you to Perry Reese's story?
For some of you that don't know, my brother Frank played for Perry Reese at Guernsey Catholic Central, and I know there's some maybe former ball boys in here, but I was the original. I was the 10-year-old ball boy for Guernsey Catholic. So he was a great person. He was our brother. He did everything that we saw him do in this community. We just had him a little shorter than Holmes County had him for, but you know, he called all of our moms mom. He had dinner with us, hung out with all the players, and was a mentor to all of us.
Well, Danny, on that note, though, at what point did you realize this was more than just a typical sports documentary?
I think after I read the article.
Oh, sorry, here we go.
I think after I read the article, I was working for the NBA. This was in the middle of COVID in 2020. I came home for Thanksgiving, and I met up with him. And he I don't know, I think he mentioned the story about it. Did I ever tell you about this guy, Perry Reese Jr.? We worked together previously in the past at another sports company in Cleveland. And I was like, no, and so he basically sent me the article, the Sports Illustrated article. So I went home that night and read it. And lo and behold, like, it was actually the 20-year anniversary, the day he passed away, that night that happened. And it was just like a weird coincidence. And it just hit me. And like, I've always wanted to do a hoops documentary. And there's really no better, I wanted to do something I really felt, and this had like all the elements, like just drew me in. Like I grew up in the country on a farm, and that aspect, along with like Perry's story, and it was way bigger than just basketball. It's like the thing that really hit me.
And Jay, obviously the people here today knew who Perry Reese was, but for those folks maybe who didn't know Perry Reese, what do you hope that they kind of take away from this documentary?
I think the documentary really speaks for itself. You know, it's obviously the article is a top 60 Sports Illustrated article, but it is hard to visualize, you know, everything that kind of happened. And I think bringing that to film, you know, we had a lot of start-stops and various projects about it. My goal was to have the people that knew him best tell the story. And, you know, we were pretty much flies on the wall for a lot of this. And, you know, we just wanted to really put all the pieces of the puzzle together, which was the biggest task. But I think, you know, just inspiration, how he's inspired all of us. And, you know, I'd love Dan to expand on that, because Dan is the person that did not meet Perry, but after spending 5 years, you know, listening to 60+ interviews and 100 hours of footage and even hundreds of hours of archival footage, Dan may know him the best at this point. So yeah, I'd love to hear his perspective on it.
Danny?
I don't know, what was the question? I just honestly, like, when I'm going through all the archival and all the interviews and stuff, like, my goal was just like trying to get the, I mean, everybody knows the basketball side, the on-court stuff, but I was really interested in all the off-the-court stuff. So that, and just more his personality, like the humanitarian side of it, and that's what really spoke to me. And like, you know, listen to all, you know, old cassette tapes and all these audio tapes. I just felt like he was talking to me too. Like the stuff I resonated with, I tried to use in the film. Like, and every sound bite, everything you heard, it just really spoke to me. And yeah, I just felt like, I don't know, I wanted to use the stuff that spoke to me through him and stuff. But yeah, it's just weird because like I do feel like I know him, but I never met the guy.
You guys did a great job, that's for sure. I know a lot of research went into this, so I guess go for either one of you guys. But how much did you know about Holmes County and Amish culture before you started this project?
You know, I grew up in Guernsey County, so you know, around the Suffolk area, we have Amish, and my know, we knew about the work ethic, right? You know, and I have a home in Shaker Heights that I gutted and the Amish came and rebuilt for us. But yeah, probably not as much as you would think. Probably I knew about as much as Perry did, you know, kind of going into it.
Well, Danny, from your standpoint here, was there a story that you guys uncovered that didn't make the final cut of the film that really just got stayed with you?
Man, there's so many. Like it could be a 5-6 hour film. Like, I don't know. We had to draw it somewhere, but I think there's a lot of good ones, but I knew I didn't have a lot of stuff to go with it, like B-roll wise and stuff. So it's just been hard for it to come across. I can't remember. Anything? Nothing's coming to mind like off the top of my head. There's
too many to talk about, right?
Yeah, it really is. Like
We'd love for, you know, and that is why, as you guys leave, there are postcards with a survey, and that's what we'd love to know from you. You know, is there something missing that we wanted to add? This is a director's cut. That's why it was 2 hours. We know there's stuff in the film that only this community would probably know, and we wanted to leave that in there. Obviously, we have to trim it down a little bit. But yeah, you know, the survey is important for us to get a sense of what worked for you and what we could improve.
I want to ask you also, when it comes to the community here, and you know, obviously the Amish community is known for valuing their privacy. What allowed you to kind of gain the trust of the families that were willing to be interviewed in this documentary?
I think it, this project started 20 years ago. And Peg Brand has been with me for the whole ride. And she was very instrumental in kind of getting her support. She introduced me to Perry's family. And 20 years ago, the story is that Jerry Brockheimer obviously had the rights. I contacted Gary Smith. Gary put me in touch with Brockheimer's people, and he said, I was living in Los Angeles at the time. I just finished film school. And he said, well, go back to Ohio, meet with the family, and if they agree, you can do the documentary. And my brother Frank and I, we had lunch with Peg, and then after that we went to go see Perry's mother, Christopher, his brother, and just kind of pitched what we wanted to do, and they gave us their blessing. So first and foremost, it was important to get the blessing of the family. You know, I moved back to Ohio in 2010 and thought about doing it again. Another start-stop, but when COVID came around and we finally decided, I had a lot of free time, and that's when my wife was like, hey, why don't you go do that Perry Reese story you've been trying to do for 20 years? So I called Peg. She introduced me to Shelly, who was obviously tremendously instrumental, and the two of them just started going down the list. You got to talk to this person, this person, this person, explain who everyone was, gave me their phone numbers. Dave and Mark were our first interviews, and when you start with those two guys and you get their trust, it was kind of easy to say, well, yeah, you know, Dave and Mark gave us their blessing, we got Peg and Shelby's blessing, and it just kind of trickled down from there.
All worked out. I know a lot of emotion we saw in those interviews on the film. How difficult was that to film at times when it kept being emotional and of course dealing with some of those interviews that became emotional, I guess?
You know, every single one was emotional, and there were some people that wanted to participate in the film, but even might have turned down an interview because they knew it was going to be very tough, but we still had their support. I think it was more than just kind of a trip down memory lane for a lot of people. I think it was, even through the interview, I think it was a part of a lot of people's healing process. it was just another opportunity to have Perry be alongside us as we were going through this whole process and journey, and him still impacting almost everything that took place within our process. We felt it was somewhat divine, like he kind of said, maybe go in this direction, you know, here's someone you want to talk to, I'm going to give you another 20-point comeback double overtime win. Yeah, it was weird in a way because we felt Perry was guiding us through this whole process. So it was very emotional, very emotional every time I sat down with somebody.
I want to ask you about the making of the film here. What was the biggest production challenge, I guess? Danny, production challenges that you faced?
I would just say the post-production editing was by far the biggest thing I've ever done, lengthwise, and really just the technicality of trying to, incorporate so many different people's stories into one film, and that was kind of really something I've never really done that intensive, in depth, I guess, before, but. And just like dealing with the hundreds of hours of footage, both the stuff we shot and then the archival. And there's still stuff I want to go through, honestly. It's not even, I feel like I've still got some stuff I can do, but yeah, just the amount, I'm trying to narrow that down and really find the story and all of that, because our approach has always been like, we just shoot it, and my approach personally is like, I always make the film. The film really was made in the edit, like finding all the right stories and what goes together and stuff. And I tried to. I don't know if Tom was here, Tom Mollett, but his archival that he followed them back in the '92 season was. It blew my mind, the fact that it looked like he was shooting a documentary back then. That time, like the footage that he shot, and like him following Perry, like isolated. So I was just like, this guy was literally making a documentary. At least that's what it looked like. And so I tried to utilize as much of his personal raw stuff as I could, just trying to hear just Perry's voice. Honestly, I just wanted to use as many elements where you could just viewers can really hear who this guy was. Because people can talk about him all you want, but sometimes it just resonates more when you hear his voice.
It was great to hear his voice, that's for sure. Jay, Perry Reese has been gone for years. His influence really is still evident throughout Holmes County. Why do you think his legacy has endured?
There's so many people here in the community that just want to keep it alive. And even in the Ohio basketball community, we could talk to almost every referee. We could talk to former high school and current coaches, and they will tell you that Perry meant something to them. Like you come to any of the games here, there's people pulling us aside that has a story, and I think what you saw was how he impacted so many people to become teachers, to become coaches, to go to college. And I think the biggest takeaway is the theme. That it's obviously a basketball story. It's a story of social justice. It's a story about the Amish and the Mennonite in this community. But the theme of this story is humility and core values. And I think it's when we started the project, if it would have been finished and come out then, I think that would have been the right time. And it's still the right time for people to see this because what it represents, just bringing people together and showing that one person can make a tremendous change. And we're proud that we're able to get this all on camera so that that legacy is sealed. If nobody ever watches this outside of today, we'll still be extremely proud that we know that it'll be in good hands with this community, that any student that walks into this gymnasium or the center and sees his name will have an opportunity to see this, to understand who he is. I feel that any of the children here that are named after him and have heard the stories for most of their lives have a better understanding of why your parents named you Reese or Perry.
You know, based off of that, if Perry were here today, based on what you've gotten to know about him, what do you think he'd say, or what do you like to think that he would say about this documentary?
He would say, why did you spend 5 years of your lives doing this and talking about me? We did feel that throughout this, there were times when we're like, oh, Perry's probably like, Jay, you gotta stop at some point, like, stop talking about me. I think he'd be proud. I think what he would be most proud of, and this goes back to a conversation that I had with Gary Smith. I contacted Gary early in this process. I said, hey, I'm gonna finally go through with this. And Gary said, you know, don't just tell my story. He's like, this is 20 years later. The biggest thing that I wanna know is his legacy still there? And what is the impact that he's making today? And I think we were able to show that with what we call our B, C, and D story, which happened to be Kevin and Evan in the 92 team, Jason and Michelle Mishler and their family, and most, I think, importantly, a story that is really carrying a legacy is the Slave Boss story, which could be its own documentary.
Danny, get your thoughts. We want to talk about basketball, right? Get talking about basketball here. How much basketball footage were you able to locate during this process?
Archival?
Yeah.
I mean, I tried to dig as deep as I could, really. Like, I was scrounging, you know, not just the tapes I was, you know, given, but I would, you know, stuff I find online, YouTube stuff. So I really wanted to dig as deep as I could, really, and really never settle just for like your surface level stuff. I wanted to, I don't know, just utilize as much as I was given. The archival process was, like, I don't take that for granted. People giving, you know, their personal photos and tapes of Perry, but like, I really tried to like utilize it, every much of that as I could. It's like, yeah, I think it comes to, you know, the work I think speaks for itself when you dig as deep as you can with what you're given. So,
talking about Holmes County, what makes Holmes County such an important character in this whole story here with Perry Reese?
I would say there's nowhere on the planet like Holmes County. I travel a lot. I travel abroad a lot. I've lived in a lot of various places, and I think it's very unique. They have opened their doors to me, to Danny. There's a lot of people here that I've become close with and have spent a lot of time with over the last 5 years. I've been to more Hiland basketball games in the last 5 years than I've been to Cambridge basketball games in the last 20. I'm going to continue to come and see, you know, Perrin and some other players continue, so you'll be seeing me around. I just think, wow, what a unique situation. You know, I think if there were more situations like this, we would probably hear about them. but to have, Alan said it, to have him drop here in the middle of Holmes County, like, wow, like, you can't script this, you know, and I know some people are attempting to script this, and yeah, just everything that we've witnessed, everything that we've learned, it is such a caring, thoughtful, open-minded community, and I'm just lucky that I understand it more and what Perry got to experience. I feel like I've gotten a little taste of that. Shelley says I remind her of Perry. You know, and just the acceptance and the access that everyone has given us. It's been tremendous. Like, yeah, we could not have done it in the manner that we have without the willingness of the community, and I think that says something. There was a connection. I was still a stranger, but the way they've opened their doors to us is, you know, I feel like a member of this community, and Shelley keeps trying to get me to move here.
We saw on screen today, but talking about maybe behind the scenes if we can. Was there anything funny, funniest thing that maybe happened kind of behind the scenes production-wise that stands out for you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think the most challenging thing that we came across in the production was when Jason Mishler shaved his beard. He showed up to my gym in Cleveland with the girls' team. We did a little workout, and his beard was gone. And I kind of gave him a double take, and I was like, who is that guy? But like with any challenge, we overcame it, and we had him grow his beard back. It took a couple months, but we didn't shoot with him until the beard came back. So I would say, outside of probably what Dan experienced and you know, working with the hundreds of hours of footage, archival footage, yeah, that's probably the funniest thing that happened.
What was the location, I guess, through this whole process you were most excited to film at during the filming process, I guess, location-wise? Anything that stands out or no?
Honestly, just the back roads here. I love just the scenic views and stuff. Besides, you know, like gyms and stuff, but I don't know, there's nothing really else that really stood out. Maybe the.
Yeah, I think a lot of the footage, the great B-roll that Dan shot was on our way home. So we just be driving these backs on our way here and on our way home. He'd be like, stop! We'd have to turn around and go back and wait for that buggy to come down just right at the right moment. And yeah, it was just, you know, us living in Cleveland, it was always a joy coming. I mean, what do we take, 70 trips down here over the last 5 years? And there was always something new and fun to see and discover, and it was just a nice break leaving some of those places. It'd be funny, I'd be on a shoot in Athens, Greece, or in Bucharest, and the next day I'd be here. It's such a, you know, such a different 180 from like my life and then coming here, and it was always just like peaceful solitude and just knowing you were going somewhere safe, and that was just a lot of love, you know, was given our way.
Do you have a guess on how much footage you guys shot versus what we saw on the film? I know it was a lot.
I mean, I was thinking about that. I don't know. I can't really put a number on it. There's definitely like hundreds of hours. So yeah, you break that down to like, you know, 2 hours. So yeah, you're never gonna be able to fit everything in. Even just trying to. I think probably halfway. You know, we didn't really know the story until probably a year or two in. Like really, besides, I mean, Perry's we knew, but you know, the other people, you know, that are in here that we were trying to, you know, showcase. But I would say, yeah, it was probably maybe 300 to 500 hours. But I don't know. I probably got a couple thousand hours of editing for sure.
scene that was more emotional than the other during the filming process?
You know, this is the fourth time I've seen it, and I was sitting in that corner crying. I cried every single time. And it's not just the obvious parts that brought up the tears. I think just really hearing what he meant to a lot of people. You know, I think first time I watched it, there was a stretch probably for 25 minutes. I cried straight through that. And we tried to be strategic about it. We're like, we've got to let people come up for air at some point and throw something funny in there, because we can't just have people emotional the whole time. But, you know, I do want to thank Carrie and her family. You know, that's such a delicate subject to work with, and to wrap Nevin's journey and their journey through it. You know, we saw the parallels between Perry and Nevin. Cancer sucks. You know, that's something that we wanted to address as well. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you to the entire Mishler family for just working through all of this with us, with love. Kevin especially. Those were pretty emotional scenes every time we had to turn on the camera with them, and yeah, it's their courage, their bravery to allow us and trust us to handle that. I think, yeah, that again, from the bottom of my heart.
You guys touched on the Schlabel family as well, and certainly Dave, his Hall of Fame coaching career, Mark's, of course, loyal, following his way, and Brady following his footsteps. What kind of struck you the most about them, what they were able to adopt from Perry and put into their coaching?
Oh, definitely humility. You know, I want you, Mark, I want you to know those 3 championships are yours. You know, you keep saying they're Perry's. Yeah, I mean, that is just, wow. It's a story in itself. And like I said, the Schlabel family and what they mean to Ohio basketball, what they mean to this community. They deserve their own story, and that's why we really focused on that. And we started to learn through this as we're telling Paris, we're like, oh, I think this Schlabel story is, man, this thing has legs. Like, it could be its own TV series. So, and then Brady comes, and you know, he moves away, comes back, and then their involvement with the classic in the country. You know, I think like the Ohio State women's basketball coach said it best about Dave. They're a powerhouse, and yeah, we would have been done with this documentary probably in a year if we just followed Perry's story. But again, Gary Smith's challenge to us and me was like, I want to see what's happening now and is the impact there. It's really hard to figure out how to end a documentary. We thought the Hall of Fame was going to be the ending, and then here comes that rematch with Lima Central Catholic. I want to thank Aaron Hutchins for really speaking on behalf of you know, their perspective and taking part in this. But then that happens. We're like, okay, here's the rematch. Okay, we're done. You know, Nick makes a shot about the same place where Junior takes his shot, double overtime. We're done. And this guy, you know, and I had to pull the plug on him at some point. I'm like, damn, we gotta stop. Perry's telling me, like, Jay, stop talking about me. You're done. And he goes, and every time we talk to Mark, for the last 4 seasons, oh, my team's gonna be okay. You don't want to follow me, you know. Got these injuries, you know. And he goes to state, like 3 out of 4, 5 years for shooting. And he goes, I got a feeling about Mark's team this year. So I said, okay, give you a little bit more time to keep the cameras rolling. He was right, Mark went state. And we knew that was just the full 360 of Yeah, hey Gary, that's the impact. Mark Slaybaugh just won a championship. He owes, he gives credit to Perry for a lot of it. That's the full circle.
Perfect way to end it, that's for sure. Now, I know there's been a lot of questions out there about this, and you guys addressed some of this, but are there plans for film festivals and a national release for this film also down the road? What's next?
Yeah, it's in God's hands, and that's the tricky thing. I've been in the business for a long time, and it's very, very difficult to sell a documentary. It either has to be celebrity-based or true crime. This is neither one. But I do think there is room for a feel-good, faith-based family movie that has a little bit of everything that I mentioned, like the social justice part, like the interest in just this community. It's a basketball film. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's a reason why it's a top 60 Sports Illustrated article. Mark Longsinger told me over the phone the other day, it's like, somebody's gonna see this. It just takes one person. It deserves, I feel, to be seen more than today. And that is why, Dan and I have funded the entire thing over the last 5 years. Thank you to everyone that has sent us a check or donated so far. It's helped us to get to this point. We are looking for additional funding. There's movie rights, there's, music rights, there's archival rights, there are legal things that we have to go through. We're going to enter it into the film festivals. Our goal is to just get it seen into those film festivals. We do have a couple leads with ESPN, with LeBron, with a couple other people. And I think we just continue to trust in the process. We did the work. We used the skills that God gave us to put this film together. And again, we're just going to trust in Him to see where it goes.
Just a few more questions before we wrap things up here, but if this documentary inspires one person to become a better coach, teacher, or mentor, what lesson do you hope they take away from this film?
You tell me. I think everyone that's sitting here can take something away from this film. If nobody, again, outside of this room has an opportunity to see this, it doesn't go to a big platform, I just want as many people from this community to be able to see it, and I will be happy with that. And if it inspires someone to become another teacher, another coach, another person that wants to venture outside of Holmes County to make an impact somewhere else, we'll be very proud of what we did.
And on that note, Jay, after spending so much time on the Perry Reese Story, what do you think his greatest legacy is that he leaves?
That. I think there'll probably be more kids named after him. There'll be more people of color coming to this community. I think I've not only seen it there, but it's spreading. I just think his legacy is that although we may not feel that we as individuals can make a large change, I think he showed that you just have to try. Imagine if he did not come back after the Huggins, family told him to don't leave, go back, give it a try. What would this community be like today? If Perry decided to not stay, you know, it's funny because we would laugh. We would come here and shoot practice, and Seeger would be having hip hop playing as the kids warmed up, and I'm like, that may not have happened without Perry Reese, right? Barbecue may not have happened without Perry Reese. Some things may not have happened without him. I mean, we're all here together because of him.
Before you wrap up, I got to ask you, after making the documentary, if you had 1 minute to sit down with Perry Reese, what question would you ask him?
I don't know if it would be so much a question. It'd be a statement from me saying, you know, if Guernsey Catholic Central never would have closed, he wouldn't have waited till 1992 to win a state championship, because I would have given him about 3 or 4. So my question would have been like, you know that's true, right? But no, I think, you know, I talked to Craig Hirschberger yesterday, so unfortunately couldn't come, but Craig was featured in the film a lot as the former guidance counselor. And he said, you know, I was a coach at Caraway when your brother played at Guernsey Catholic, and you're playing Caraway, and I remember me, sitting on the bench as his ball boy. And we were just kind of laughing that who would have thought, right, this little Filipino boy from Cambridge, Ohio, would move to Los Angeles, go to film school, move back to Ohio to make a film about Perry. And I think Perry and I would definitely have a laugh about that.
That's amazing. Well, guys, on behalf of everybody here, I want to thank you for the time you put in this, for caring about this project and not letting this project die. Put the time into it and put up this great project. So thank you for everything you've done.
Yeah, and thank you all. Thank you so much. Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Doris.
Thank you, Casey, as well.